Everybody, welcome to our intro video where we talk a little bit more about our background and just give you a little bit more context above and beyond the kind of little teaser video that you might have seen on our channel. So without further ado, we're just gonna jump into some intros.
Yeah. Can I introduce you?
Sure. Yeah.
And then you can introduce me?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's do it that way.
Let's
so this is Nick, everybody. Nick is my husband. And Nick is awesome. He is he is so smart. He's so talented. I could just brag on him forever. But really though, something great that Nick is doing right now is that he is consulting with different companies and brands on all types of things, operations, and like manufacturing, licensing, just a whole like plethora of different areas of expertise that he has from his experience. And a lot of his experience comes from years of work at Besame Cosmetics, which if you know Nick already before you come to this video, that's probably how you know him, because he's been doing lots of great work with Besame for a few years. How many years? 5 years? 6 years? 6 years. Yep, that is right, huh? Yeah, because you started working there shortly after we got married.
Mm-hmm.
We've been married 6 years, so that makes sense. But with Besame, he has done things like the Agent Carter collection, and he actually came up with a lot of the way that was rolled out. So a lot of things that the fans got really excited about, I think, kind of came from Nick's brain, which is super cool because he's really good at doing stuff like that. There's been a lot of innovation and that he's brought to Besame, and the way that they have done licensing, the way that they've just scaled their business as well. And so now he's taking what he's learned there, offering that as a consultant to other companies within the beauty industry and also outside of it, because there's still a lot of crossover, especially in terms of like licensing and stuff, which is super cool. Before we got married, when we were dating, and even before we met, Nick worked in the entertainment industry. So pretty different in some ways, but in some ways there, I feel like you really kind of had some interesting things that you learned in the film industry that you probably carried with you into working in cosmetics. Like learning how to manage people, for example. I feel like that's huge. But Nick was working behind the camera, in production on different TV shows. You've worked on a lot of different TV shows. He did a lot of Disney and Nickelodeon shows. But he also, it's a fun fact that not everybody knows, he was also on the camera sometimes, in front of the camera as well. That I don't think was like what you were trying to do. No. I feel like that was more like it just sort of happened, or it was like a necessity because he was doing some stand-in work and stuff like that. But mostly Nick was looking to do stuff behind the scenes and off camera. But you worked on tons of shows and you did that for years. And actually that's how we met, which might be a story for another video. But we met on set of a Disney Channel pilot. That is how we met. Very Hollywood story. But yeah, and Nick really started doing this like right out of high school, working on production. And Nick's first show that he worked on was Top Chef, wasn't it?
That was the first real show I worked on.
Okay.
I was doing like low budget movies right out of high school. The types of movies where they get kind of one B-list actor. They make it really cheap here with the intent of distributing it in every other country except this one. Yes.
Yeah, that is how you did get your start then. But then it kind of moved into your first like big network show was Top Chef. And maybe another video for the future can be if you have any questions about the entertainment industry and what it was like to work in that industry and why Nick ultimately decided to leave it and switch gears completely.
Yeah.
Nick's first job though, when Nick was in high school, I believe it was in high school, was working at an auto shop.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was Nick's very, very first job. Yeah. I kind of went backwards in order here.
You did.
From like, it'd be like resume order, I guess, like all the way to the bottom. And his very, very first job was working in an auto shop. And Nick loves cars. That is like his hobby. And he loves cars and he loves everything about them, driving them, racing them, working on them, all the car stuff. Before I met him, I knew nothing about cars, couldn't tell you the difference between two different makes and models of cars.
Now you know.
Now I know. I've learned a lot from him, which is super cool. So that has like turned into a hobby for him more, but it was his first job. And I also feel like even though it may seem random that you've gained all this experience from all these different areas, I feel like that was a good job for you just starting out, because it was like probably appealed to that thing in your brain that you have where you really like to know how things work and figure out how to make things work and figure out how to fix things, because that's still very much a part of what he does. He just does it for businesses instead of for motors. And that is like very much the way that Nick thinks and likes to pick things apart. Kind of just like taking apart a car and putting it back together again and finding that one little thing that was making nothing run, and then switching it out and making everything run smoothly again. And so I feel like that probably just like tickled that part of your brain that you have, but it was missing all the other things like working with other people, management, bigger scale, which is kind of how you ended up where you are now, I would say.
Yeah.
Other things about Nick, like I said, he loves cars. He loves, these are just fun facts. This isn't really like business related. He loves Disney, but like not in the like typical Disney adult way, but more like a theme park enthusiast.
Corporate goings on
of Disney, all that kind of stuff, like the real nerdy stuff, Disney history as well. And Disney merchandising. We talk about Disney merchandising a lot, and we like to look at merchandising as a whole, but I feel like within the Disney company, licensing, merchandising, we really like keep an eye on that. Let's see what else. Nick is a Libra, and I feel like that fits him well. And he is really funny, and he's got a great sense of humor and wit, which I hope that we see in this video more, because usually that's like a part of Nick that you only get to know if you get to know him really well, but I think we can bring that out of him in these videos. Anyway, now you know more about Nick.
Let me talk about Janae now. The first thing you should know about Janae, the most important thing, is that she is still the reigning Little Miss Idaho.
Oh my god!
There has never been another Little Miss Idaho because they discontinued it, weirdly, after... I
cannot believe you just said that!
So, there's never been a Little Miss Idaho after her, so...
this is true. I was crowned Little Miss Idaho when I was 9 or 10, I think. And then they didn't do the competition again. So I never had to pass down my crown.
Yeah. So that's really a cornerstone of Janae's personality, I would say. It influences her everyday life, from the potatoes to the pageantry. She really exemplifies the Little Miss Idaho.
The potatoes and pageantry. That's me. Oh my god.
But,
I think
yes.
I'm blushing.
So Janae does come from a performing arts kind of background.
I do.
And then went to school for it with a degree in music composition, which is super cool. I always go to Janae when I have music questions, and I go, is this music thing this thing or that music thing? And then she gives me a whole bunch of words, and I go, aha, music things. Yes. So that's really, really fun. Let's see. Janae does not use that degree in music composition, even though I would say is hobby a good word, Janae? Or it's still just a passion of yours?
Passion.
It's still a passion of yours. Janae, we met when she came to LA looking to do something in entertainment. And I was working in production, and she was an extra on a TV show pilot, which is a story for another day. But I would say very quickly, this kind of passion for creativity and one might say the harnessing of kind of chaos that is music writing was kind of transformed into marketing and advertising, because I don't know, to me it seems kind of daunting. There's just like every note possible, and you're kind of trying to like pick the right ones in the right order. So when you're trying to advertise something, it's like you could market it every way. Obviously many of them are wrong, some are going to be right, some are going to be great, but you kind of have to know, there's only like so many notes, and it's more important the way that they go together. And I like to think that that's what translated over from the creative to more of like the business side, I would
Yeah.
say.
I feel like you're right about that.
Yeah. So yes, you did that at Besame for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And then you jumped around to some other agencies and did a little bit of work here, a little bit of work there. And then we're like, you know what? Why don't I have my own shop doing this? And now it's really great because any project that I'm working on that requires any kind of digital marketing or anything in that kind of arena, that Janae takes that on. And that's amazing to be able to work kind of like hand in hand with that, because that is still kind of her strong suit, is taking this. Yeah, I really like that analogy. This kind of like musical approach, or like a really creative first approach to what can sometimes be more analytical, especially with like performance marketing, which is now kind of going the way of the dodo. But still, a couple of years ago when it was really in its prime, I think you still found a way to have a lot of creativity first campaigns, even though the metric at the time was definitely more metrics than anything else.
Yeah.
Some hobbies. Janae is a baker. Some would say she's the
baker of my family.
But really, I'm the baker.
Well,
so let's just stop that.
We're both good at it.
Okay.
But I think that if okay.
But Janae's the baker. No, but baking, I would say, is a hobby.
It is. I enjoy it's stress relief. Even if I don't eat the bakes
Mm-hmm.
and I give them away or whatever.
Yeah.
I enjoy just doing that.
You do that during the holidays. A lot of baking to give away to like friends and family.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of my hobbies are kind of like
intertwined.
Yes, but I was also gonna say like losing some steam because it's hard to run a business and be a mom and still like find the time to do those things for myself. But definitely. I really do try to prioritize it. It's really important to me that I find the time, but it's just hard.
It's tough. I have golf clubs that are collecting dust. I have not used in how many months?
It's been a while.
Yeah. I was gonna say like going down Wikipedia black holes.
Yeah, that's a hobby for sure.
Is something because
I probably do that every day.
Yeah, way more. I think you tell me some of them.
Mm-hmm.
But you do them a lot more than you say that you do. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Mm-hmm.
And then you send them to your friends, don't you?
It depends. Sometimes I just keep that information up my sleeve for a fun cocktail party, throw it out there. Like to, next time I do bar trivia, I'm like gonna know. But yeah, if I think someone else will find it interesting, I absolutely am gonna send them everything I just learned from just clicking through Wikipedia after Wikipedia after Wikipedia to learn more and more and more down the rabbit's hole.
I would say maybe not so much anymore, but when I first met you, old cinema was a big interest of yours.
Oh yeah, and I think it still is. Movies
as
a whole, I really love movies. I love movies.
But again, I think over the years that, especially with just doing more, because we used to have like old movie screenings too.
Oh yeah,
that was so much fun.
So much fun. We could save that for our next date night or something like that.
That'd be really fun to do.
It'd be good to
I
do
really
again.
want to go see. What we saw West Side Story. I think it was like the last thing we ever saw. Remember
when they did that screening of the original?
Like
West Side Story.
2018 or something.
Oh yeah, maybe
like
that was
something like that.
But that was great, and like nobody was there in that theater. It was empty.
No,
it was empty.
That was fun.
So I got to sing. Just kidding. I didn't sing along to that. I just sang later. I sang all the songs after the fact.
You were like, and then you like looked around, and then you were like. That's Janae.
That's me. There we go. I feel like we did a pretty good job, kind of giving a rundown intro on each other there.
Yeah, I feel like I've had a very eclectic work history.
I have too. I worked in tech.
You worked in tech.
I was IT.
But you also started doing, you were doing, and then you worked
I was a choir director. I had
during college.
Yeah, I had an awful job, probably the worst job, where I worked for this former senator / lawyer.
I thought you were going to say / disgraced senator.
That, yes, also / asshole, if I can say that can I say that on YouTube? I just did. Anyway, it was a terrible, terrible job, and I worked it very briefly, but I did do that.
You worked at Brahms?
I worked at Brahms Ice Cream.
I guess I
I
wasn't
worked at a
counting high
Mexican
school.
restaurant as a waitress.
What was the Mexican restaurant called, Janae?
It was called El Nino.
Uh-huh.
This was a Mexican food restaurant ran by white people.
Yeah. And what was the most popular dish?
White sauce with their chips. That's what they call it. It's queso. It's queso dip, but they just called it white sauce. And fajitas, and a lot of people did not pronounce that correctly.
And how did they pronounce that?
You know how they pronounced it, Nick.
Okay.
You know. We can talk about our daughter.
We can.
Yeah. You're never really going to see her on here, but we will talk about parenting a lot. So I do think that we can tell you a little bit. Our daughter's name is Lily Bell, and she is 2, almost 3 years old. Very exciting. And she is a delight. And she is rambunctious and precocious, and she's just awesome. She's awesome. She's the coolest kid you'd ever meet. Yeah. And she looks like just a perfect mix between the two of us. She's got his blue eyes and curly hair, and she's got a lot of my features. Like, I think she's probably got like my nose and my smile, maybe. Yeah. But that's Lily Bell.
Eyes.
Oh, my eyes too.
Your eye shape. She has my eye color, but she has your eye shape.
Yeah. Probably true. Yeah. We also have a cat now.
Stupid cat.
Our cat's name is Sprinkles. And that's that.
Yeah.
That's our
cat named Sprinkles.
I'm very worried she's gonna ruin our Christmas tree.
Yeah, probably.
We'll see how that goes. Anyway, so I guess we've introduced ourselves, our family, a little bit about what we do. Yeah, I run a marketing agency now. Nick kind of alluded to that I'm doing marketing, but that's what I do. I run a marketing agency, and I work with brands, typically just brands that are doing e-com, retail, products and consumables, not like necessarily services.
Yeah.
I have worked with some people who offer services, but it's more because they're like a friend or a friend of a friend, and it's kind of like, okay, but that's not really my specialty. I really, really like to focus on e-com and retail brands. Our agency likes to be able to offer whatever you need, because that's what a good agency should be able to do. But I feel that our specialties are really anything within social media marketing and branding for sure. And that's like a very special passion of mine, I think, because that's really where your creativity can take flight, and you can use, for me, it feels like using both sides of my brain, the logical and the creative side that I can kind of bring together. How can I artistically communicate what a product is going to be, what a brand is going to be, what you need to know just by seeing some colors and reading some words, right? Like instantly you have evoked a feeling, you have made a connection, you've been able to give them something memorable, something to talk about. And that's like the most special challenge, and I love it every time. It's so interesting and fun for me to get really nerdy about branding.
And I feel like your agency is one of the few people that has figured out TikTok. I like to think that TikTok is one of those things that some people are kind of tiptoeing around, and I have not seen people executing in the way that your team has been putting stuff together, because it's kind of a little different, a little crazy, a little scary, and you kind of need to be on board for the ride and understand that TikTok is not Instagram and Facebook.
Totally.
And if you get on board with that, which you've had some brands get on board with that, it is super interesting to see, and I have not seen anybody else marketing with that yet. So.
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. And I definitely want to talk more about TikTok in future other videos, because there's so much to talk about, and there will be more in the future as things go, probably as I predict them to go on the app. I think we're going to see a lot of changes in the coming months to what it looks like and the new things that they're probably going to be rolling out. And so as those things happen, I want to be talking about it here. So that's something on our channel that you can look forward to.
Some housekeeping. I put it in our description, but just so you have it in audio format for those people listening on the podcast version of this, which you can't see me waving right now. Don't you feel stupid? No. We're looking to have content out twice a week for everybody. Tuesdays, Fridays, and then in between weekends, whenever there's something cool going on or something big like a trade show or a live event or something fun like that. It'll just kind of be whenever it happens. We'd love to have lives where we're talking about iterating company idea, brand ideas, helping out with licensing, supply chain, logistics, go-to-market strategy, merchandising, really anything. If you're trying to start a brand in a recession right now, those are the brands that make it.
I fully stand by that.
Yeah,
yes.
you're kind of setting yourself up for success. So it would be awesome to do a live where we kind of help people out that bring in questions or maybe need sources on, you know, factories or anything like that. Like I said, as Janae had said, I have a kind of a big background in a lot of that product making, from kind of initial iteration and the contract on that end to
and beyond
getting
just
it on the
his
shelf.
expertise and his great ideas on any of that, he also is like a professional matchmaker too. That's something else that Nick can offer. He's got so many great connections just because he's just been doing this for so long. If we do these lives and you can't make it, that's okay too, because we do want to help you. And if you have any of these questions, or even if you're not trying to start a business, but you're just like interested in this, you work for a business.
Just like shoot us an email.
Shoot us an email, leave something in the comments on this video or another video. Reach out to us however you want. You can even find us over on TikTok if you want. And we'll be happy to answer that. That'd be great. So that's kind of what we're looking to do here. And obviously just talking about anything in business news that strikes our fancy.
Yes, we'll have
and
something...
just also like a little more on the personal side of how we do this, how we both work from home, we both run businesses, we both try and keep our lives together as just like human beings. Like I said, like making sure I can do those hobbies, and that's really important to me. Being parents, being there for our child. You know, how do we do it? I mean, I don't actually really know how we do it, but
yes, we do.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do.
We'll tell you.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
No, but yeah, we'll at least, if anything, we can, if you're also a parent, a working parent, or even a stay-at-home parent, because every stay-at-home mother, every mother in general is a working mother, I believe. Fathers too. Yeah, we can commiserate if needed. We can just talk about how hard it is sometimes, because it really can be.
So yes, look out for another video coming out soon. I don't know if it'll be up by the time this goes up, but we're going to be talking about the recent controversy with Banksy and Guess. Talking about licensing and kind of pulling some larger themes, diving into a rabbit's hole a little bit there. So yes, we will see you guys later, and until then, it's business as usual.